Hi there. My name's Miss Patrick, and I'm going to work with you on today's lesson. Today, we are going to be reviewing subtraction strategies. You will need something to write with and something to write on. If you do not have those materials yet, go ahead and pause the video until you have them. One of the subtraction strategies that you learned is called counting on. Remember that a subtraction problem is the total minus a part. When you are counting on, you start with the part and you count on or you count up until you get to the total. You can use your fingers to help with that. You can use a number line. You can even use counters. Another strategy was counting back. In that case, you start at the total and you count back the part and then see where you land. You can use the number line. You can also use your fingers and counters to count back. Another strategy you learned is called making a 10. Let's watch a video to review that strategy.
Let's solve this problem. 14 minus 6 equals what number by first making a 10 and then subtracting from that 10? When we use this strategy, we don't take away all 6 counters at once. Instead, we split up 6 into 4 and 2. So that we can take away just the 4 counters in the bottom frame. Now we take away 4 counters, leaving us with a 10. And then we take away 2 more, leaving us with 8 counters. 14 minus 6 equals 8.
Let's talk a little bit more about this strategy. To subtract 14 minus 6, they broke 6 into 4 and 2. But why 4 and 2? Why not 3 and 3 or 5 and 1? Because the goal when using this strategy is to make sure that you take away all of the counters that would be in the second frame. You want to subtract everything you need to subtract to make 10. And then you need to subtract anything else that you need to subtract. So 14 minus 4 equals 10. And then they subtracted 2 more. 10 minus 2 equals 8. Let's talk some more about strategy. Let's consider the problem 14 minus 9. Every strategy will work, but which one do you think would be best? Would you choose to count on? Would you count back? Or would you make it 10? Again, they're all fine. Since we just saw the video on making a 10, let's see what would happen if we make a 10 here. We have 14 minus 9. So we are going to be breaking apart 9 so that we can make a 10. So let's rewrite our problem. And if you need to, imagine 2 10 frames with 14 counters. How many would you first take away to empty out that second frame? You would need to take away 4. That would bring you down to 10. But we didn't take away this entire part yet. We only took away 4, but we need to take away 9. So we would need to take away another 5. So instead of thinking 14 minus 9, we are now thinking 14 minus 4 minus 5. 14 minus 4 equals 10. And now we just have to decide, what is 10 minus 5? 10 minus 5 equals 5. Now let's look at our other strategies. We could have also counted on, or we could count back. I'm thinking, I don't think counting back makes too much sense. You can do it, but 9 is a lot to be counting back, isn't it? I think it would be easier to count on than to count back. And let's do that using our fingers. We want to start at 9 and count on to 14. So we're thinking 9 in our heads, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's 5 fingers. And that's what we found before. So no matter how you do it, 14 minus 9 equals 5. How about this problem? 11 minus 2. What do you think makes sense? Would you count on? Would you count back? Or would you make a 10? Interesting. What about this counting on? I don't think that's the best one for this. You could do it, but it seems like you're going to have to count a lot because you're starting way down at 2 and you've got to count all the way up to 11. This time, it makes more sense to count back. When your part, in this case the 2, when this part is small, it's easier to count back. So let's go ahead and do that. We're thinking 11 in our heads, and then we're going to count backwards in 2. So 10, 9. 11 minus 2 equals 9. Could we have used the make a 10 strategy? We could have. Imagine 11 counters in a frame, and you want to empty out that second frame, so you would be taking away 1 counter, and then you would have to take away another counter. Instead of subtracting 2, you're going to subtract 1, and then subtract 1 more. So 11 minus 1 equals 10, and then 10 minus 1 equals 9. So that works. They all work. In this case, I really think counting back is the best way to go because you only need to count back 2. How about the problem 13 minus 11? Would you count on? Would you count back? Or would you make a 10? I think this time counting on sounds good. I wouldn't count back because the part 11 is a big number, and that's a lot of counting back. So while you could do it if you really want, I probably wouldn't choose that one. Counting on makes sense. When the part is very close to the total, counting on is a good strategy. Let's go ahead and try that. And this time, instead of doing it in our head, let's just sketch a little number line. We know we're starting at 11, and we have to count on till 13. And how many hops would that take? Starting at 11, it would take 1, 2. 2 hops. 13 minus 11 equals 2. Could you have used the make a 10 strategy? You could have. You could have broken 11 into 3 and 8. 3 because 13 minus 3 equals 10. And then 8 because you would need 8 more. 3 and 8 make 11. If you were writing this in a number bond, those would be the numbers in the bottom circles. 13 minus 3 equals 10. And then 10 minus 8 equals 2.
It's time to take a brain break. Pause this video and take a few minutes to do something of your choice. You might want to stand up and stretch, get a drink of water, or something else. When you're ready, come back and restart the video.
Welcome back. Now, let's get ready for some practice. You should have something to write with and something to write on. Go ahead and solve this problem. Find 12 minus 3. Your answer could be 9, 11, or 15. Which of those is the correct answer? I'll give you a moment to work that out, and use your paper and pencil if you need to. Okay, this time the answer is the first choice. 12 minus 3 equals 9. Did you get 9? And what strategy did you use? I think I would have used counting back. And there's a couple ways you could have decided to count back. Remember, counting back is a nice option when the part is a small number. And this time our part is only 3. So we only need to hop back 3. 1, 2, 3. Where do we end up? Well, let's fill in our numbers and see. Before 12 comes 11. Before 11 is 10. And before 10 is 9. That's why 12 minus 3 equals 9. You could have decided to make a 10. You could have broken 3 into 2 and 1. 12 minus 2 equals 10. And then subtract 1 more, 9. Let's try another one. 17 minus 5. Go ahead and figure that one out on your own. The answer is either going to be 12, 13, or 14. What is the answer? The answer is 12. 17 minus 5 equals 12. Now let's think about strategy. Could you have used make a 10? Not in this case. Because if you're starting with a total of 17, you would need at least 7 counters to empty out that second frame. We don't have enough. So the make a 10 strategy doesn't even work here. So now you decide, do you want to count on or do you want to count back? Which one makes more sense? Counting on would mean starting at 5 and going all the way up to 17, and that sounds like a lot of counting. So I'm going to count back instead. Start at 17 and count back 5. So we put 17 in our head, and we are going to count backwards 5 times. So 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. And that's the answer. 17 minus 5 equals 12. If you're not very good at counting back yet, you might want to draw a little number line to help. All right, here is another one. 16 minus 15. Is the answer 0, 1, or 2? Now, if you don't have your answer yet, I will give you a hint that the best strategy here is counting on. 16 minus 15 equals 1. Don't need to count on very much. When your part is very close to your total, try counting on. So we have 15, 16. We only needed to count on 1. 16 minus 15 equals 1. Now let's try 18 minus 9. Remember, use your pencil and paper if you need to. (18 minus 9). The answer is going to be 7, 8, or 9. And remember, if you need more time, you can always pause the video and turn it back on when you're ready. Okay, I'm going to say the answer. 18 minus 9 equals 9. Now, really, any of the strategies are pretty good here. Let's try making the 10. If I have 18 and the first thing I want to do is get down to 10, I'm going to have to subtract 8. But I know I really want to subtract 9. So how much more do I need to subtract? I'm going to need to subtract 1 more than that. Now let's work through this. 18 minus 8 will give us 10. And then we still need to subtract 1. 10 minus 1 equals 9. So that was the case. I think making a 10 worked out pretty well. You could have also counted on or counted back with your fingers or a number line. Okay, 11 minus 4. Do you think the answer is 7, 10, or 15? Work out 11 minus 4. You should have gotten that your answer is 7. 4 is a fairly small number for a part, so I would have chosen to count back. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. I ended up at 7. 11 minus 4 equals 7. And that brings us to the end of today's lesson. We reviewed the subtraction strategies of counting on, counting back, and making a 10. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.
Model 16 minus 4. Choose the number line that shows how to count on to subtract. Model 16 minus 4. Choose the number line that shows how to count on to subtract. Make a 10 to subtract 15 minus 7. Model 11 minus 6. Choose the number line that shows how to count back to subtract. Make a 10 to subtract 13 minus 5.